Today I'm going to read this book. It's called A Squash and a Squeeze. Ooh, I think it might be about animals. A little old lady lived all by herself with a table and chairs and a jug on a shelf. A wise old man heard her grumble and groan. "There isn't enough room in my house. Wise old man, won't you help me please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your hen," said the wise old man. "Take in my hen? What a curious plan." Well, the hen laid an egg on the fireside rug and flapped around the room, knocking down the jug. The little old lady cried, "What shall I do? It's pokey for one and it's tiny for two. My nose has a tickle and there's no room to sneeze. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your goat," said the wise old man. "Take in my goat? What a curious plan." Well, the goat chewed the curtain and trod on the egg, then sat down to nibble the table leg. The little old lady cried, "Glory be! It was tiny for two and titchy for three. The hen pecks the goat and the goat's got fleas. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Old wise man, won't you help me please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your pig," said the wise old man. "Take in my pig? What a curious plan." So she took in her pig, who kept chasing the hen and raiding the larder again and again. The old lady cried, "Stop, I implore! It was titty for three and it's teeny for four. Even the pig in the larder agrees. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your cow," the wise old man said. "Take in my cow? What a curious plan." Well, the cow took one look and charged straight at the pig, then jumped on the table and tapped out a jig. The little old lady cried, "Heavens alive! It's teeny for four, it's weeny for five. I'm tearing my hair out, I'm down on my knees. My house is a squash and a squeeze." What do you think she said? She said, "Wise old man, won't you help me please? Because my house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take them all out," the wise old man said the wise old man, "but then I'll be back where I first began." So she opened the window and out flew the hen, That's better at last I can squeeze again. She shooed out the goat and she shoved out the pig. My house is beginning to feel pretty big. She huffed and puffed and she pushed out the cow. Just look at my house. It's enormous now. Thank you, old man, for the work you have done. It was weeny for 5. It's gigantic for 1. There's no need to grumble. There's no need to grouse. There's plenty of room in my house. Now she's full of frolics and fiddly-dee. It isn't a squash. It isn't a squeeze. Yes, she's full of frolics and fiddle-dee-dees, because it isn't a squash and it isn't a squeeze. Ooh. So what do you think the point of that story was? I want you to think about it really hard. What changed in her life and what did she realise at the end? Right, well, that's all from me. Bye.
Hi Year 1! I hope you've enjoyed listening to our book of the week, Squash and a Squeeze. Now I'm going to tell you some other literacy activities that you can do linked to this book. Now, in the book, the little old lady was feeling really sad because first she was on her own and then she had too many animals in her house. Now, sometimes if somebody that we care about is feeling sad, we might write them a letter. So one of the things you could do this week is write a letter to somebody in your family to make them smile and cheer them up. We've written lots of letters before in school, and I have made a I Can Write poster, just like the ones that we have on I Can Write display, of all the things that a good letter would need to have in it. Now remember, at the start of a letter, we need to always have the word dear, and then who you are writing your letter to. You might write Dear Mummy, or Dear Daddy, or Dear Grandma. You can choose. If dear is at the front of the letter, I wonder if you can remember what's at the end of the letter. We need to have the word from. At the end of your letter, you need to say who has written the letter. So from Amy, if I was writing the letter, or you could write from and then your name. There's a few key features that we need to remember when writing a letter. We need to always write using the first person, which means we're talking about ourselves. So you are saying, I hope that you are okay. I am writing you a letter. So remember to use that important word I, and the word I is always written as a capital letter. And then as a challenge, see if in your letter you can ask the person a question. Here's a question mark that we would put at the end of the sentence instead of a full stop. So you might say, how are you? With a question mark. In a moment, I'm going to show you a letter that I have written to somebody in my family. And then when you've written your letter, you can either give it to them if you're there in your house, or you might post it in an envelope with a stamp. Have a go at writing these letters and send us a picture of them on Seesaw. Okay, here is the letter that I wrote to some people in my family. Should we have a go at reading it together? And let's check. I'm going to use another pen to check that I've got some of the things that were on my I Can Write board. So I started my letter with that keyword dear. Dear Mum and Dad. Now I don't live with my mum and dad at the moment, so I'm going to send this letter to them in the post. Thank you for all you do to help me. So remember, we had to say that in our letter, something to cheer the people up. So I'm saying thank you. There's that important tricky word I, because we're writing a letter. So we're writing about from ourselves. I am at home and, I've used, do you remember what kind of word this is? It's a connective. It's joining two parts of the sentence together. I am at home and have been doing some reading and schoolwork. Now I made a little mistake here. I spelled at instead, and it doesn't matter if we make a mistake. Just put a little line through it and write the word again on the top. Remember, it's good to make mistakes. We learn from them. What have you been doing? this is not a normal sentence. This is a question because I'm asking them something. I want them to reply and tell me what they've been doing. So I finish my sentence with a question mark. See if you can put a question in your sentence. I hope you are having fun. And then look how I ended my letter with that word from. That's what's really important, that we put that word at the end of the letter so that they know who has written to them. And then there's a big space for me to draw a picture. See if you can write a letter to somebody who you live with or somebody that you can post a letter to. So, one of the things I have done is I have made another story map for the book, A Squash and a Squeeze. You can see I've done my big letter S, my story map S, and now I've drawn some pictures to show the story. So there's the little old lady and the man who comes and tells her what to do. Here she tells her that she should let some animals into her house. So you've got the hen who lays an egg on her rug and breaks her favourite jug. Look how sad she is. Then I drew the goat. Oh, it's not a very good picture of a goat. I'm sure you could draw a better one. Mine looks a bit more like a reindeer. And then, the goat, he nibbles all her curtains and he eats the table legs. And again, she's so sad. Then the pig comes into the house and he eats all of the food, making her feel really upset and feeling really squashed and squeezed into her house. And then we've got the cow. Remember, he stands on the table and it's so squashed and squeezed. And then eventually the old man says, well, why don't you just ask them to all leave? And so they leave her house and she's happy again. Now, one of the things you could do once you've done your story map is you could think about how you could edit the story. That means maybe change it a bit to add in some extra detail. So you might think of another animal who could come into the lady's house and you could write about that animal. So I've decided that then maybe, can you think what animal this is? It's a sheep. I think a sheep might be one of the animals that comes into her house. And you could think of some adjectives to describe the sheep. So maybe the sheep is fluffy. Maybe he's really messy. And then you have to think of a problem. So all these animals here, they did something to upset the lady in the house. So I might think, what is my sheep going to do to upset the lady? I think the sheep is going to be really lazy and fall asleep on her sofa so that she's got nowhere to sleep and to sit. So then I might write some of the story, including the sheep, my new character, and the problems that he causes the lady. That's an activity you could do at home. And then you could send us either pictures of your stories or your story maps. And when we're reading your stories, we can see if you've added any new characters. Hi Year 1, we're going to do some phonics now. Today I've chosen to look at the sound qu. Remember, the action for qu is qu, like you're being a duck's beak quacking. I've chosen this sound because in the book A Squash and a Squeeze, this digraph comes into the title twice. So if I write the words squash, qu, and I put my sound buttons in, you can see the digraph qu. Remember, a digraph is two letters that make one sound. If I look at the word squeeze, it's also in this word as well. Squeeze, squeeze. So today we're going to look at the sound qu. Now there are lots of words that start with qu. The two letters that make the sound are Q and a U, and they come together to make the sound qu. So I'm going to think and make a phonics poster of words that have this sound either at the beginning or some words have it in the middle, like here. So I'm going to choose a word, qu, queen, and I'm going to put my sound buttons in. Remember, if it's a digraph, if it's two letters that make one sound, we put a line, qu. So an E and an E, we don't go eh, We say E. So I put another digraph line. N is a single letter on its own that makes one sound, so we put a little dot. And I'm going to draw a picture of a queen. She's got a smiley face. She has to have a big crown. And I'm going to draw her. There's a queen. I might think of another word that has the qu sound in it. So, for example, qu, a. See if you can read this word with me. Can you read that word? Let me put the sound buttons in to see if you can have a go. Quack. 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 And what animal makes a quack sound? It's the duck. Oh dear, I'm going to try and draw duck. Well, you can draw a much better duck than me. Making the sound. Beak's gone a bit funny. Quack. See if you can find some other words that have the qu sound in it. Another activity that you might want to do at home is you might want to think of some alien words. So in year 1, we try and read alien names. They're made up words, they're silly words. So what I've done is I've drawn some aliens. You can have a go at drawing some aliens at home, and then I need to give them some names. And my names are all going to have the qu sound in them. So I think I'm going to call this alien. See if you can read his name for me. I'll put in the sound buttons to help you. Have you read his name? His name is Quish. Quish. That's a funny name, isn't it? I'm going to draw him with a speech bubble saying, my name is Quish. Oh, I'm going to think of another name for this alien. Can you see his name? His name is Quaz. Quaz. His name is Quaz. We make our alien words so that we can practice using our phonics in words that we're unsure of. Have a go at home at drawing some aliens and coming up with names for them. You might want to come up with a name for this alien and this alien. I didn't have any colouring pencils at my house, but you might want to also colour in your aliens. So that's 2 phonics activities you can do linked to the sound qu.